Hey guys, this is Chris Reimer from Rizzo Tees, and I'm normally here to clog the arteries of the internet with videos about my t-shirts, but today I've got something kind of special. This book, Gary Vaynerchuk, Crush It, Why Now is the Time to Cash In on Your Passion. I asked Gary if he would send me a pre-release copy, and he was kind enough to do so. Gary, thank you very much. I feel kind of honored to have had the chance to look at it. And before I get to the review, it was really interesting. The book shows up at my door, and I take it out of the package, and it's thin. It's not a large book, and that kind of took me aback. I wasn't sure quite what to think about that. But after reading the book, I can tell you that it really is the perfect length. I think he put everything into it that he needed and nothing else. This book is free of padding, free of fluff. And I have to say that I really appreciate that. You know, these days we are communicating in 140 characters. I don't have time to read books, and frankly, if it had shown up and it had been 300 pages, I might have just said, "Oh, geez, I'm not going to have time to do this." So it was a very easy read. It was a fast read, and I think that these days, I think we can kind of all appreciate that. But I read the book, and it really is fantastic. If you have a passion and you want to cash in on it, Gary gives you a lot of very good information in the book, and he also really tries to stir your emotion and have you believe that you can do it. One thing he does is he talks first about his backstory. He tells you about where he came from. He came from a pretty modest upbringing, and I think that's rather inspirational to a lot of us. He talks about working in the selling his lemonade, and then selling his baseball cards, and then working in his father's wine store. So you really get an idea that he came from a modest upbringing, and that the success he's meeting with right now is pretty much based on all the hard work that he's done. But what he tells you is that you can basically crush it no matter what your passion is. And what's kind of cool is he goes into some examples of some rather boring professions, and he talks about the idea that if you can go out and buy a flip cam and get on camera and start talking about your passion and pump that content out, you can eventually monetize. You can eventually do that as your full-time job. And trust me, some of the examples he gives, they're rather boring professions, and he really convinces you with examples. He doesn't just give you the profession's name and says, "Oh, you can do this." He actually walks you through a scenario where what you do on Monday is you start doing this. Tuesday, he talks to you about the idea that he gives you the steps to take, basically, to try to cash in on your passion. A couple of the cool things he tells you about, I actually wrote these down because I did not want to forget. He gives you the top 5 reasons why Twitter is the most powerful personal branding tool. He names his top 5 up-and-coming social media platforms. He gives you several cool tools to aid in the distribution of your content. He gives you a few tips to make your blog easier to read for your users. He tells you what it takes more than anything to succeed, and he tells you the #1 thing that trips up promising entrepreneurs. It's really killer content, and again, it's so easy to read. It's, like I said, not a long book, very easy to read, and that is really good content. It doesn't take a long time to find it. He even gives you a summary at the end of the book, so it's really fantastic. I guess the bottom line is, if you're already as passionate as Gary, and you're already working at 18 to 20 hours a day, and you're doing everything you can, there are still nuggets in this book that can help you out. But if you're like me and you sometimes wondered, how am I going to do this? How am I going to work a full-time job, have 2 kids, 3 kids, 4 kids, and still try to make my dream come true? What Gary's trying to do with the book, I think, is affect your emotions. He's basically throwing some wood on the fire, and sometimes we need that, and the book really does throw some wood on the fire. It got me rather pumped up, and I can highly recommend the book. It drops on October 14th, and I recommend you go and pre-order on Amazon. And I want to thank Gary again for providing me the opportunity to video review it. Again, October 13th, jump on Amazon and get one today. Thanks again, guys. Cheers.